In our lead story today, an octopus has shocked staff at an aquarium after it pulled off an audacious escape. And when I say audacious, I mean audacious. The escape of this very clever cephalopod was only discovered this morning after it. It somehow managed to squeeze itself into a tank with a bunch of crabs. Now normally this would be an impossibility, as the tank is some 6 foot tall and, more importantly, it's made of glass. But upon closer inspection, the staff noticed something rather peculiar. A number of crabs and fish were missing from their enclosures, but the tanks themselves were all intact. Nothing appeared to have been smashed or broken. Now they started to piece together what had happened. They remembered that yesterday they'd had a giant Pacific octopus in their main exhibit. It's a common species, which is native to the coast of New Zealand and Australia, and it's also a notorious escape artist. They'd had it since it was a small juvenile, and it had grown to be absolutely massive. And then one of the staff remembered that they noticed a few weeks ago that there was a small gap in the lid of the tank. It's just a tiny little hole, about half an inch, which was not there before. But because it was so small, they assumed that the octopus, even though it was quite large, wouldn't be able to fit through. Clearly they were wrong. Aquarium manager Rob said that these are incredibly smart animals, far smarter than people give them credit for. He said, "We think it managed to squeeze out during the night. Came in and found it had gone, found the lid was slightly ajar, and it had obviously managed to wriggle its way out." But how did they find the octopus? They knew exactly where to look. After squeezing through the lid, the octopus must have made its way across the gallery floor. It left the safety of its own tank and ventured out into the unknown, navigating its way through a labyrinth of pipes. It came across a drain pipe and used it to travel around the aquarium, Rob said. "We have a big pipe underneath that goes right underneath the building and outside. So it must have traveled along there and gone up another pipe to get into the crab tank. It must have been quite a feat for it to do that." It seems that the octopus went on a bit of a rampage overnight, helping itself to a buffet of crabs and fish. It ate as many as it could, but not being particularly hungry, it left several of them alive. In fact, when the staff arrived in the morning, they could see the 8-legged predator perched on top of the crab tank, watching the crabs scurry sideways in their enclosure. It was like some sort of evil genius octopus mastermind planning its next move. But how did it get back into its tank? Well, after it had finished watching the crabs, it slipped back down the pipe, making its way to a ventilation shaft near its home. The octopus wriggled its way into the shaft and waited until the morning, when the aquarium opened. Only then did it make its presence known by flashing its huge suckers. The staff were gobsmacked. They couldn't believe that such a large animal could have escaped and returned without them knowing. It was so brazen, so devil-may-care. So now the octopus is back in its tank, and they've put a new lid on top. But they're going to have to keep an eye on it, because they know that if it can escape once, it can do it again. This is one very clever cephalopod. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe and comment. We'll see you next time.